why do so many French politicians have a problem with Muslims? Recently, the French Senate banned religious symbols in sports. For many, the clear target was Muslim sportswomen who compete with headscarves.
Well, obviously, what France is doing is that they're just proving that Muslim women are not welcome in public places anymore in France by rejecting women, Muslim women, the women who choose to wear a hijab from almost every aspect of their life.
Public fear, coupled with France's staunch secularist policy, has piled pressure on French Muslims, especially in conforming to specific dress standards. France already has a ban in place on the full face veil known as the niqab or burqa, and the headscarf or hijab has been outlawed in public schools since 2004. French politicians remain deeply unpopular in much of the Muslim world. Earlier this month, a study in France found that French media outlets have a strong tendency to give far-right voices airtime and amplify their fringe views. And this is raising anti-Islamic sentiment across the country. For years, far-right groups and parties have been on the rise all over Europe. And in France, home to the largest Muslim population in the EU, anti-Muslim attacks jumped by 54% in 2019. Just months ahead of the presidential election, some candidates on the left and right of the political spectrum are once again using language that's worrying Muslims. In his quest for another term, Macron will likely be up against far-right leaders Marine Le Pen of the National Rally Party and Eric Zemmour of the Reconquest Party, and he will be under pressure to one-up on politicians famous for their anti-Muslim rhetoric.
Le Coran divise le monde entre terre de guerre et terre d'islam, Dar el-Islam,
oui, tout à fait.
Et que nous sommes une terre de guerre.
Liberté, égalité, fraternité, qui procède elle-même d'une sécularisation de principes issus de notre héritage chrétien.
The French president has also been criticized for discriminating against Muslims. He had pledged to fight what he called Islamist separatism. And it's not just about extremism. It seems that it's Islam he has a problem with.
Islam est une religion qui vit une crise aujourd'hui.
Islam is a religion that is in crisis today all over the world.
The vote to ban hijabs in sports competitions followed a year after the approval of one of President Macron's landmark projects, the anti-separatism bill. It gave the state far-reaching powers to shut down religious groups, associations, and schools. And many see it as an attack against Muslims in France.
There is, as he said, a willingness to, yes, address the issue head on, but on the other side, not stigmatize the Muslim community.
And with Macron eyeing re-election, some have called it a desperate appeal to far-right voters who accuse him of being soft.
Macron knows that there are a lot of far-right voters in France, and he feels that the way to attract them is to bring in repressive laws, especially laws aimed at clamping down on immigration. And of course, has to be said, a lot of immigration to France is now coming from Muslim-majority countries, and that's another reason why he is perceived as bringing in Islamophobic legislation.
But the issue du jour here is laïcité or secularism, the separation of church and state. France has long championed it as a pillar central to liberal consciousness, but critics say its meaning has been weaponized. According to French philosopher Raphael Laugier, it has become a tool to target people considered enemies of French culture. Macron had also stated in a tweet that laïcité or secularism never killed anyone. He surely must have forgotten France's brutal colonial past, which is rife with mass killings and genocide. Freedom of expression is enshrined in the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. But like every freedom, it comes with limits. If it incites racial hatred, anti-Semitism, or justifies terrorism, then it is no longer an opinion or freedom. It's rather a crime. But the all too common story here is that almost all cases of hate speech against Islam or provocation falls under freedom of expression. Let's end on a note about the elections. Some of the candidates are using language and proposing policies that appeal to far-right voters, perhaps not to appear weak. But regardless of who is elected, some are questioning whether French Muslims may ever live with liberty, equality, and fraternity, which is what France stands for.